us right here on the India Development Debate. I'm Supriya, Shrinate, and with me in Mumbai is Sandeep, Gurumurthi. It is Rahul Gandhi's time in the sun, but looks like it is the BJP which is having quite a laugh. Just a day after his historic speech in Parliament, peppered with happy hug and a cryptic wink there, Rahul chaired the CWC meeting the first time as the party president. Setting the ball rolling for 2019 general elections, the Congress party's top decision-making body has now authorized Rahul to forge alliances with regional forces to take on the Modi-Shah juggernaut. The CWC has also set a target of winning at least 150 seats in a bid to ensure that Rahul Gandhi emerges as the automatic leader of the proposed Mahagathbandhan.
The Congress may have been realistic in its expectations, but political pundits say winning 150 seats may be easier said than done. They say the party will have to contest at least 300 seats to achieve its target, but its powerful regional allies are unlikely to yield that much political space to the Congress. Even if the Congress emerges as the second largest party after the BJP, the likes of Mulayam Singh, Mayawati and Mamata Banerjee may not be ready to play ball with Rahul just yet. Rahul Gandhi as a prime ministerial candidate and the other key takeaways from the CWC meeting, that's the topic of discussion on the second leg of the India Development Debate. Joining us on the show, Narendra Taneja representing the BJP, Sanjay Jha representing the Congress Party, Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party, and Neerja Chaudhary, political commentator and columnist. Neerja, let me start with you. Is Rahul Gandhi now an automatic choice to head the non-BJP alliance or the Mahagathbandhan?
No, I don't think he's an automatic choice unless the Congress party gets more than 200 seats. For the simple reason that though he may head the largest opposition party, his leadership is not going to be acceptable to all the regional satraps. So that's a question mark. I mean, one can assume that because the Congress is the largest party, pan-India party, its leader will be accepted. But I don't think that's the case. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's going to be very difficult to have a Mahagathbandhan before the election. The opposition wants to do Mahagathbandhan only in some states where it's going to make a difference, but not a kind of an omnibus entity. And one of the reasons is that there is going to be no clarity before the elections on who should lead it.
Fair point. Sanjay Jha, I wanted to come in and react on the point that Neerja Chaudhary is making, a very seasoned political commentator there, and she believes it's not a natural choice because it's up to the regional satraps. I mean, will people like Mamata Banerjee be fine with Rahul Gandhi heading the whole Mahagathbandhan? And the other point is that it is perhaps going to be left to individual alliances in various states and not this omnipresent Mahagathbandhan. So that's question number one. And question number two that I meant to ask you is the top Congress leaders, and these are not, you know, these are stalwarts. Pranay Chidambaram projects 150 seats at best. Does this signal that the Congress party has reconciled to a reduced role of political relevance?
Supriya, let me answer your question very quickly. Firstly, a lot of respect personally that I have for Neerja ji. She is, I think, a very seasoned political analyst. To answer your question, there are several states where it's a Congress versus BJP head-to-head. Therefore, the logical outcome that will the Congress party be the largest party in parliament from the opposition side, or will it be larger than the BJP? I think that's a matter of conjecture. The second point is, of course, we are very confident that we will be. The second point is, in terms of what is the likely outcome of seats. Let me just make a correction there. Mr. Chidambaram's prognostication on the seats is a minimum size. It doesn't tell you that that's the maximum that the Congress party can get. Please remember that in 2004 we had 145, we moved to 206 seats in 2009. There are all kinds of possibilities. The critical question, I think Neerja will agree with me there, is the fact that how well does the Congress do against BJP in states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Himachal, Uttarakhand, etc. Now, as far as the other parties are concerned, now Ghanshyam ji here represents the Samajwadi Party, for instance, and I have no hesitation in publicly making a statement that in states where the other regional parties are stronger, more formidable, there will be an alliance stitched, keeping in mind that, you know, all alliance partners get what they believe is their rightful due representation. And I don't think you're going to see a Congress party under Mr. Gandhi of any arrogance and ego. I think we completely respect the fact that the primary objective, Supriya, is to defeat an absolutely non-performing government that has divided society, messed up the country, taken us regressively back, and has been possibly the worst government we have seen since independence. And
okay, you made your point.
Sanjay,
you made your point.
To make all kinds of adjustments,
okay,
which are pragmatic and long-term.
Okay, you are open to all adjustments. Your primary agenda is to keep Modi out, as Modi himself, as the Prime Minister himself said in that speech in the Parliament. But Ghanshyam, let me come to you before I go to Narendra Taneja. The Congress is clearly pitching Rahul Gandhi for PM. I mean, they are now not sort of hedging it, or they are not sort of nuancing the statement. They are very clear from their point of view. They believe they are likely to be the single largest party in the opposition camp, and so logically their candidate should be the prime ministerial candidate. How does this go with the Mahagathbandhan? Do you see the possibility of a Mahagathbandhan government with anyone but Rahul as a leader, say a Mayawati or a Mamata Banerjee?
Sandeep, let me read two headlines from Economic Times today that tell you the story. One is that CWC decides to build anti-BJP strategic alliance. I'll summarize it. And the other is, on the other side of the page, is Shah to BJP leaders, be ready to go alone in Maharashtra. This is the story of the day. On one hand, you have opposition parties talking about how can we build an effective alliance. On the other side, you have a NDA which is crumbling under its own weight, fighting it out with their own allies. As far as the Grand Alliance is concerned, what makes it grand is it is not one monolithic alliance. It will be a string of alliances from state to state, and each state will have its own principal architect. The way we see what Congress did in the CWC is they have announced that Rahul Gandhi ji and his team would be the principal architect of alliance building within the Congress. As far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, between Gorakhpur and Phulpur, we saw one version of alliance where Congress was not part of it. In Kairana, we saw another version of alliance where 6 parties came together and defeated BJP. And Akhilesh Yadav ji is a principal architect in alliance building in Uttar Pradesh. This is what makes Mahagathbandhan strong, that you have a number of young leaders who are pitching in to talk about how do we build the alliance. And this is what makes BJP weak, that they are in their arrogance ready to ditch their own allies.
All right, hold your thoughts there. I'm going to take this across to Narendra Taneja, who represents the BJP here. And Mr. Taneja, can you deny that even though you did win the no confidence motion, and of course you won it handsomely, Rahul Gandhi has amply demonstrated that he is no pushover anymore. Your own ally, and Mr. Ghanshyam Tiwari was referring to trouble within the paradise, your own ally Shiva Sena praised his speech and compared the outcome to the Football World Cup final by stating that Modi may have been France, who did win, but Rahul Gandhi has won the hearts of the people a lot like Croatia did. How are you going to deny that? Because this is not coming from us, this is not coming from the panelists, this is coming from your oldest ally, the Sena.
You see, first of all, in politics, nothing happens automatically except disaster. So, and as far as Mr. Rahul Gandhi is concerned, I mean, his spokesman, his party spokesman, including, Samajwadi, because they are they're working together with them. It's okay. It's democracy, and they're entitled to their viewpoint and to their confidence, and even to Congress arrogance. We saw Rahul Gandhi's arrogance on the floor of Lok Sabha the other day. My God, arrogance for what? The kind of arrogance it is. We're asking the Prime Minister to get up. So that kind of arrogance. We also see CWC meeting. CWC meeting, according to the constitution, should not constitute more than 15 members. The entire city was there. The entire city. It looked like a bazaar. All there in attendance to say, Rahul ji, you are great. That's not how democracy functions. If they are doing that, they are doing at their own risk. Now the question is, in terms of qualification, when you put together such an alliance, Akhilesh Yadav ji, with all due respect, is far more qualified than Rahul Gandhi. Far more qualified, far more experienced, far more suave politically. Mayawati ji, far more experienced. Mamata ji, far more experienced. Chandrababu Naidu ji, far more experienced. Why should they be accepting Rahul Gandhi as the Prime Minister candidate? For what? Even for the sake of, hypothetically we are having a discussion. There is no vacancy there. That's a different matter. There is no vacancy. People have decided. People know who to choose. Now the question is that, but in democracy, these kind of, conjectures, these kind of talks, these kind of effort are welcome. Let them try. Let them try. But the question is, what is common between all these people? They're going to
hear
fight
all that
with
point,
each
Mr.
other.
Taneja, but very
Sit in
quickly,
cockpit.
the fact that
And
your
then,
own ally Shiv
secondly,
Sena
what is
has
what
has
brings them
complimented
together?
Rahul Gandhi. You may ridicule him, you may see nothing in him, but your own ally, you know, Shiv Sena complimented the very speech where you thought he was being arrogant.
Let me answer it. Let me answer it. You see, compliments in Samna and all that, they are not going anywhere. They are with us. They're going to stay with us. Just wait for some time. They change headlines every day. You take them, you go by the headlines. We don't go by headlines. We know them, they know us. We are made for each other.
And yet you criticize each other. Well, that's an interesting
So
alliance.
not going anywhere.
But okay. But Sanjay Jha, even as we cheer Rahul's Jhappi, can we overlook the trust vote result at 11 p.m. on Friday night? 325 votes in favor of the government and just 126 in favor of the no confidence motion. This was higher than what most pundits had anticipated. The fact that the ADMK and the TRS voted in favor of the government. So in some sense, as Congress have a chance in the numbers game. It's all right about scoring points, but you know, the battle that need to be won was won convincingly by the government.
Yeah, Sandeep, I think I have lost your voice, but I am assuming you asked me a question about what happened that day. The truth is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi thumped Mr. Modi, and I think it was a comprehensive victory that the world saw. That image, that I think, you know, the whole, shall we say, gesture by Mr. Gandhi to tell India's Prime Minister that you are now an epitome of hate. My party represents the whole ideology of love. And I think that is the statement. Is, you know, the hug is a manifestation of the tolerant, secular, inclusive nature of the idea of India that we talk about. Narendra Modi, I have a feeling, has had sleepless nights thereafter, because, you know, the obsession of the BJP with Mr. Gandhi is something that we in the party don't object to. The more they ridicule him, the more they attack the Congress party, the more we get strength from that. Welcome, Mr. Taneja, join the party. Now, but let me tell you the more important point, and I think that is something that we need to understand. India is going to have a new Prime Minister in 2019. You know, if you study the electoral math, it's crystal clear that end of day, why did they win the no confidence motion? Because those are the numbers of the 2014 parliamentary vote. The 2019 vote will be different. If Mr. Modi truly has the courage of his conviction, call for the general elections in 2018 end, and you will see the extraordinary results. India is disillusioned. India is going to vote for change. They have had enough of this, you know, rhetoric and these hollow speeches and this jumlo ki barish and jhoot ki leher. There's a time for change. This is a country that embraces
I'm going to take this across to Nirja.
This is not a country where a Jain Sinha and Garland convicted killers and they will applaud. They won't happen. They are not
No. I don't want to get into that realm because I don't have time.
India will have a new
Sanjay,
prime
I'm not
minister
going to get into that realm because I
in
don't have time to discuss those things. Nirja Chaudhary, I'm going to come to you for a question. First, it was Mayawati who sacked a party worker who had questioned Rahul Gandhi's foreign origins and all of that. Then the RJD today expelled a worker who had criticized Rahul Gandhi's hug of Prime Minister and his speech in Parliament. Is that at all a sign of his growing clout? Or are opposition parties playing it very safe? They don't want to do anything from a party level, from a leader level, that can upset an alliance, that can upset a future relationship.
I think so. And now that the Congress has made him a Congress president, and the party seniors are also reconciled to his leadership, you see, for other parties to make derogatory remarks about him is naturally not going to go down well with the Congress. And these are parties that are going to have an alliance in the future with the Congress, and they all know that. It's not the alliance that is in question, it is who will lead that alliance. And I think arithmetic is going to decide that. It's possible that somebody else from the Congress can lead. You know, if the Congress party gets an absolute majority, naturally Rahul Gandhi is going to be the prime ministerial candidate. But if the Congress party gets less than 200 or even at 200 and the allies say we don't want, we will support the Congress party, we will even be ready for somebody from the Congress to lead an alliance and a coalition, but we don't want Rahul Gandhi. Now, is the Congress going to sit on that? Because many may feel that Rahul Gandhi lacks the experience that would be required to run a very tricky kind of a coalition. So, it will be the allies as much as the Congress members of parliament who will decide who will be the leader, and that is likely to happen only after the elections were the situation to warrant it. At the moment, it's a very hypothetical thing we are looking at. And I would think that Congress can play the role of a sutradhar. At this point, to get into who will be the leader is an irrelevant exercise. You don't know what the future is going to throw up.
That's a fair point.
Therefore, can the Congress and Congress senior, talented, experienced leaders actually be the sutradhar of opposition unity? And that's a role they can play.
Okay, fair enough. I take that point. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I like the way you ducked the question that I asked you, specific question on, you know, is there a possibility of anyone but Rahul Gandhi becoming the prime ministerial candidate from the Mahagathbandhan? But let me ask you, and I understand why. Tell me, what or who is going to bind this Mahagathbandhan together? Neerja ji spoke about the fact that, you know, the Congress will have to be the sutradhar. Will you at least concede the fact that the Congress party has to play the role of the sutradhar? Because eventually what is going to bind them together, as the Prime Minister himself said in the speech on Friday, it's, you know, the only thing that binds them together is a desire to keep Modi out of power. And you know, we've seen the BJP play that game very well. They're already using this us versus them narrative. So in some sense, you are actually giving them a great narrative to play.
Well, BJP has three key narratives as they go into election. The first and foremost is Modi ji Mahan hai. In the no confidence motion, we showed that Modi ji bhi insaan hai, he can handle a warm hug. Second is there's no alternative. In the alliance building, as I read the headlines also, that in every state a strong alternative is arising to challenge BJP, and the way we look at that alternative is, the question is not who's going to be the Prime Minister, the question is who are the prime architects of this alliance who will ensure that the alliance stays together. And if you look at last 2 years, the opposition has behaved maturely to hold their alliances together. The final point of BJP narrative is that the nation should debate Hindu-Muslim issues every day from 5 PM to 10 PM, and that is where their politics prospers. We saw in the parliament that the parliament gave a befitting response to everyone in BJP who wanted a debate only on Hindu-Muslim. The issues of this country are bare-bone governance issues of better quality of living to every person, better security to women, and better empowerment of the poorest of the poor. And that is what the nation is now discussing. So BJP today stands on a very weak agenda where they don't have alliances. Their core agenda is not working. And finally, opposition is talking through its architects. In Uttar Pradesh, we have not seen a problem with the alliance. In any state you name, in Madhya Pradesh, where there is speculation about how the alliance will come together, it will be key on who the principal architect of that alliance would be, and the alliance will come together. We believe that the answer is in the question, who are the architects of the alliance that is emerging.
Okay. I don't want to keep going back to the hug and talking about this, but yes, that was quite a moment in India's parliament. Narendra Taneja, coming to you. You know, you may ridicule Rahul Gandhi, you may say he's daydreaming, you may call his behavior inappropriate and all of that. But the reality is that I think the BJP needs to ask itself the mute question. Who is today controlling the narrative? Who's setting it? Whether it's the agrarian stress, whether it's lynching incidents that have put the government on the back foot. Isn't the government now in a reactive mode? Even the Prime Minister's address was about taking pot shots at Congress, from its leaders Sonia Gandhi to Rahul Gandhi to Padappan Chidambaram. He puts out a tweet earlier today. You've got your entire top brass reacting to that. So isn't he in many ways setting the narrative? And we've seen examples of that galore.
Well, narrative where, and for some television shows, or narrative for some headlines. When it comes to our narrative, is very clear. We are working for the development of the people, And our focus continues to be that. Even the Prime Minister's speech during the no confidence motion was focusing only on what we have done, what we plan to do, what we have already achieved. That remains our focus. You know, the question is, but in a democracy, we are of course enjoying what all these people are trying to see. It's nice to see different kind of you know, entities trying to come together. There's absolutely nothing in common, but still they're trying to come together. And out of that, if they all come together, it will be interesting to see what comes out of it and how that creature is going to look like. Are the people going to get horrified, or they're going to accept that creature? We don't know. It's democracy. I respect that. You see, the question here is that Rahul Gandhi is not Sonia Gandhi. You know, Sonia Gandhi and together with Dr. Manmohan Singh, that was a very different kind of leadership that's why they were able to put together that coalition. But Mr. Rahul Gandhi is no Sonia Gandhi. Now the question is that, you know, why, as I said, you know, the question is, would all these leaders with tremendous experience accept him? Except for what? What is the glue? There has to be some glue when you put together a coalition. We are also a coalition. You see, so we are not saying anything against coalition. And in democracy, they're entitled, is their right to try to you know, put together a coalition. And it will be nice to have a good fight. As a Democrat, I love to have a good fight. But the question is that, as you said, ridiculing, I have never ever ridiculed Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He himself ridiculed on the floor of Parliament, calling himself Pappu. What do I do? Okay. We never did that. I have never done that. And I will never do it.
Narendra, it's good to see the BJP speak well of at least Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh.
I'll grant. How can we unseat the Prime Minister?
Okay, I take that point. It's good to see you. You know, you're at least speaking well of Sonia Gandhi and Manmohan Singh.
I respect the people who respect India and who do healthy politics.
Okay, fair enough. I take that point. Let's get to the bottom line. Sanjay Jha, you know, banter aside, the fact of the matter is, how are you going to arrive at seat sharing pacts? You said that, you know, you're willing to let SP, BSP take the lead in a state like UP. But can the Congress party agree to fight on just say 10 seats? I mean, at some level, you have to get to brass tacks. And, you know, it's unlikely that the SP and BSP is going to give the Congress anything more than 10 seats. Can the grand old party of Indian politics reduce itself to contesting in 10 seats in the most critical state of Uttar Pradesh just to keep Narendra Modi out of power?
Sandeep, before I respond to your question, I don't think the BJP has any respect for anybody in the Congress party. Since you mentioned my Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, our former Congress president, Narendra Modi actually mimicked her in Parliament. I haven't seen a more shameful moment in a parliamentary debate in our entire history. I don't want to even get into it. There's pathetic pedestrian politics coming from Modi himself. So let's not go down that road. To answer your question, I think Ghanshyamji has, frankly speaking, put it in perspective. There are certain states where it will be foolhardy on our part to be terribly ambitious. After all, what are we talking about? We are talking about a team that fights it together. For example, in Gujarat, Rajasthan, where we are probably going to form a government for sure, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, we are clear front runners. I mean, it makes logical sense for the Congress party to be the party which will fight those elections. Now, as far as Uttar Pradesh are concerned, you know, Bihar, for example, let me tell you, a very, very respected opinion poll done just a couple of days ago has said that in Bihar, if a Lok Sabha election were held today, the RLD and the Congress, the RJD and the Congress would defeat the JDU and the BJP by winning 29 of the 40 seats. So things are changing dramatically in India's politics. It's extremely fluid. But we respect the regional players. You know, one of the things that the BJP does is to frighten regional players using investigating authorities. I think whether it's the BSP or the Samajwadi Party or any other party in this country, everybody's saying, bring it on. We're going to save our democracy. We're going to save our constitution. We're going to get into government to correct all the wrongs that you have done. And I think for the Congress and the other parties, it's going to be pragmatic maturity. And we will make sure that the BJP is reduced to the lowest ever tally in Lok Sabha.
Sanjay, I will have to come in there and we will see the broad contours of alliances being formed by the Congress and the BJP and all of that said and done. But I am more interested in the moot question, and that question is for Neerja Chaudhary. What will 2019 elections be fought on? What are going to be the big issues? 2014, let's give people the credit, was perhaps at least resounding development, was perhaps against dirty tainted politics. What is 2019 going to be all about? Because I'm rather scared of which way polity is headed right now.
I think both sides will have a different narrative. Very interesting. Of course, Narendra Modi will be very much part of the BJP's narrative, his leadership, his tough image that he sports. They will talk about all the things that they have done, a sample of which we heard in the Prime Minister's reply in the no confidence debate. Of course, the Hindu-Muslim polarization will take place. Hyper-nationalism may be a card that the BJP plays. As far as the other side is concerned, it's very interesting in Rahul Gandhi's speech in Parliament, you saw him refer to, I have learned from the BJP to be Hindu, and Hindu means to have love in your heart for everybody and not hatred and ill will. And then after his speech, he walks across to the Prime Minister and gives him a big hug. Now, this is a very interesting shift in the narrative of the Congress party. He didn't refer to the word secularism, but he referred to an inclusive approach which the Congress of yesteryears used to have, which means that, you know, I'm mindful of Hindu sensibilities and I will give a sense of confidence to the Muslims. Now, I don't know whether this is going to get played out much more in the months to come, apart from the issues of farmers' distress, women, minorities, tribals, Dalits, all that, of course, the joblessness, all that, of course, the opposition will flog. But this was a very interesting new shift that was coming through Rahul Gandhi's speech.
I take that point. I've just got a minute on the show. 30 seconds to Narendra Taneja and then 30 seconds to Ghanshyam Tiwari. Narendra Taneja, 2014 was all about development. Are you preparing for an election that will be all about Hindutva?
No, not at all. It's for the, I mean, India is largely a Hindu country. You can't deny it. 81%. And when it comes to civilization, it's Hindu civilization. You love it or you hate it. It's up to you. You can argue against it. You can.
So will that be the key election issue is what I'm asking.
The agenda is basically because all these decades the party election issue is very simple. Election issue is that how can we make India an economic superpower? What more can be done? And how do we defeat these people who have nothing in common coming together?
Well, if that is an election issue that is carrying out the narrative here. No, Mr. Taneja.
So we'll go to the people.
Mr. Taneja, with all due respect,
they want to capture power only to destroy.
Mr. Taneja, yes, okay. With all due respect, Mr. Taneja, the reality is if India is to be made an economic superpower and if that's going to be the narrative of elections 2019, it is definitely not the narrative right now. And you can't blame the other side for this because you are in governance, you are in power. So I think it's fair point to show the mirror sometimes. But let me just take it across to Ghanshyam Tiwari. And Ghanshyam, you know, 1 second, sir. Being anti-Modi is one thing. No, 1 second. Being anti-Modi is one thing, opposing Modi is one thing. But, you know, you have to offer an alternative narrative. You have to offer an alternate model of governance. What model will that be? Well, it can't just be minority appeasement. You'll have to shun that. The Congress seems to have corrected course. So what is that alternate model going to be?
Well, as Samajwadi Party, we have not shunned the campaign Kaam Bolta Hai even now, as BJP is going around both at the central level and state level, re-inaugurating the schemes that we inaugurated. For us, the contrast cannot be more clear today. After the Alwar lynching, the entire BJP feels that the no confidence motion speech of Prime Minister and Home Minister was a missed opportunity. They should have spoken about it. So the narrative is in contrast is very clear. Jobs, no jobs. Women's security, no security. Lynchings and harmony, lynchings and no harmony versus harmony and brotherhood. This narrative will evolve further because BJP has trained its campaigners only on one side of things. As I said, Pradhan Mantri Mahan hai and Hindu-Muslim narrative, and there is no alternative. That BJP has gotten caught into this trap will limit its options for 2019. Opposition is free to raise the aspirations of people and to say that they did not govern and we will govern better.
Okay, let's hope 2019 is going to be an issue about governance and not about the gods that you pray before or the food that's put on your table. Thank you very much for being with us, Nirja Chaudhary, Sanjay Jha, Narendra Taneja and Ghanshyam Tiwari. Thanks very much for being with us on this edition of the India Development Debate. This is Rahul Gandhi's prime ministerial pitch. Can he bring the opposition together and head it?
I'm down on this leg of the India Development Debate. Don't go anywhere. Up next is Top 10 at 10. Keep it with ET Now.